Hey everybody, I'm going to review Dragon's Tiger 1 Ausf H2 7.5 centimeter KWK42. I've been putting off reviewing this for a while. It's been in the stash for a really long time. I wasn't even going to buy it, and then there was a guy liquidating like new kits at a model show in Chicago, and it was like 20 bucks. I'm like, fine, I'll take it. As a tiger person, I love tigers, but since this was a it was never built. So, you know, it was a kind of like the V2 Panther that I reviewed was built, it was prototype. This wasn't even prototyped. It was talked about, planned. It was a possible way to get, I think, more tigers out in the field, because you have, or maybe they thought this gun was better. I've heard that the Panther gun had a better muzzle velocity than a Tiger gun. I'm not really sure why, and I apologize for not knowing why. But this was a contingency plan, as far as I know. So it was an alternate turret to the Tiger. Never saw service. No, it wasn't at Kursk, which is what they're showing here. And I don't like it. I like prototypes, and I like, you know, vehicles that led to other vehicles, but as long as it really existed, that's where my passion lies. So when this one came out, I snarkily said on a forum, I'm like, it's not a real thing. And then David Burton was like, yeah, it is stupid. I think what I'll end up doing with it, I have a sneaky idea of what I want to do with it, but it's kit number 6683. It was a thing on paper, it was never a thing in reality. I'll show you what's in here. It's a little crap what's in here, but I think my plan is to, I have the premium Porsche Tiger, which has a good Tiger turret. And I think since I plan on using the Italeri turret to make a prototype Tiger P, I'm just going to take the good Tiger 1 turret from there and put it on here. Maybe. I might just build it up and do it in like a primer or a gray as like a prototype or a whatever. I don't know. Quick look inside how the box is packaged. This is something I want to start doing that I always forget to do. But a friend of mine pointed out that I don't do it. You know, most things in here are double bagged. Not terribly elegant, but a lot in there. The tracks were sort of just like that, so but pretty full. But kind of the bags seem to be getting larger with Dragon. I don't know if that makes any sense to you. They're not terribly well, because they're putting different size sprues in them, so they're sort of just loose bags. Instructions are what are somewhat typical of Tigers, except that you'll notice it's kind of, there's a lot more padding between images of the sprues. So step one are giving you a choice of sprockets. I'm guessing they're both late type, because there's no difference in the image. Early type, idler, 2 pieces. We've seen this a million times. Rear plate, having us remove the hinge detail, which is annoying because I'm a brute and I'll probably mess it up. Wheels. This is one of the main things I did not like about this, because it was not marketed as an orange box, but here it has the orange box Kursk Tiger wheels, the little burp connected ones here. Not a fan. I cut them apart and I used them on my Tiger build, and yeah, they look fine, but it's a little weird. And there's something even weirder about this that I'll show you. Here the framing goes on for the actual mud flap on the rear. Rear plate all looks super familiar to anyone who's built Tigers. It does have the very good single piece top to the exhaust. Hopefully it does point the right way, but I think it doesn't, so you need to alter it slightly. All this though, same as every other old Tiger kits. Looks to be the same jack. You do have to cut out this spot to make the rear flaps early. I think some people forget to do that. You can also just borrow some Tamiya ones if you have some laying around. Interior fuel tank and radiators. It does appear to be missing the top piece or not. There's a piece to this that is missing from certain kits, so you've got this Y4 piece and there's a piece he needs to go onto. I'm not sure if it's there. But I've been leaving all this out myself anyway, and then be mindful that it looks like you need to fill some notches in here that go into a different kit, so these side pieces were not made for this lower hull, so they're having you fill it. Again, I had to do that on my Kursk Tiger build this last year. So the hatches, same assembly as always. The cover for the vision block itself, the handles, you can pose it open or closed. Moving on to the engine access door. Looks to be the same parts we're used to seeing. This nice assembly for this piece here. Slightly fiddly. Having you drill some holes or cut off some pieces. Okay, and bow MG looks to be the same as we're used to seeing. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, like 7-piece assembly. Movable driver's vision slot. Same engine intakes that we're used to seeing, 2 pieces with the PE. The lights are in the 2 corners in the hull configuration, so basically like a Kursk Tiger. It's basically the same configuration as the Orange Box Tiger with a different turret. It's what this kit looks like to me. So here's our 5 hoses. These are probably going to be the older ones, not the better ones from the modern Wittmann kit, which is too bad because they have those parts and they choose not to use them in these kits. S-mines going on, and tow cables. Now here's another gripe, is that these tow cables are straight off of the late Tiger Sprue, so they are sort of the later shaped tow cables. It's a bit lazy because I also know that they happen to have better tow cables for that. Tooled at the time anyway that they're doing this. Metal conduit for the lights, very, very happy with that. Fivals are the older assembly with the 2 halves and the top piece. It's fine. It's not great, but it looks okay. Again, just knowing that they had a newer tooling at the time that they released the kit tends to rub me the wrong way. The shovel that they have you put on does not have molded on clasps, not real. It just has nubs. Also not my favorite thing. I replaced that with a Ryfield one when I did it. You can find some kind of solution for that. Upper hull now going on to lower hull with the front plate. So this turret has never been used and is newly tooled for this kit. Here we have the lower and upper part. Looks like there's no interior detail for it. Almost a Panther D style cupola. This odd hatch and these 3 sort of sections. We've got a large, what looks like a loading hatch maybe here, or a port of some kind. It basically looks like a Panther escape hatch. A ball MG mount on the rear of it. It's kind of very strange. And then here we've got the mantlet itself. Very simplified. I don't even see any breech detail. No, there is no breech detail. So here you have the barrel, which goes onto a single baffle ball muzzle brake, and a very Panther looking mantlet. And then you've got 2 more little access hatches on the side there. Then you just put turret on hull, track change cable, and then they're telling you to put tracks on and a spare track hanging bar. Marking options are Leibstand Darsa Prokhorovka Operation Citadel 43. That did not happen. But you'll notice it even has Kharkov style numbers. And then here we have Shveda Panzerabteilung 101, November 43, and 503, 1943. None of this happened. Yeah, it wasn't fielded, so you know, you can do whatever you want with it. As is the case with lots of modern Dragon kits, instead of a card or goodies come in this bag here. This is how these things are. So you've got a large sealed bag with one of the smaller intakes and a piece of conduit. Then you have a small Ziploc bag with another smaller intake cover, and then a small Ziploc bag with doubled up large intake covers, and then in this bag, which is where everything was, you have just a piece of conduit. It seems a little weird. I know, like, I complain a lot about the lack of Dragon cards, a lot of us do, but like, this is just, it doesn't even make any sense. And then the condition of these intakes is, you know, iffy at best. This is a very silly thing they've been doing. Decals are a ton of numbers and different weights of Balkenkreuz. You could probably make use of these for other projects if you so choose to. Lots of different designs there. We'll look at one run of the DS tracks as an example. You saw how they were in the box. On first look, you can see that you've got okay guide horns up until here, and then you've got like a ding in here, and they're just mangled down here. So there you go. If I was the kind of person who cared about DS tracks, this would bum me out, but I've just come to the realization that I cannot rely on Dragon for tracks for Tigers and their kits, and that's just something I plan for now. But like, that's crap. Come on. Apart from that, slightly flashy, detail seems good. And then the weight is, they're very thin. So, I will be putting these in a box full of DS tracks that I never look in. First sprue is our ever familiar B sprue, which is exhausts and the armored covers to the exhausts, large side idler, sprockets, final drives. The parts are still nice. Idlers still look good. You know, I don't have anything to complain about. The stuff that's here is adequate. Then we got our J sprue, which is our fuel tanks and radiators, fan drive assemblies, some small bits, headlights, bow MG parts. Again, it's in most Dragon Tigers. Everything still looks pretty good. Grab handles look nice, fans still look nice, not flashy. Hatches look good. Everything looks pretty good. Then we have this sprue, which is, I believe, dating from the Vidman kit. So we've got fivels of the later type, but Dragon's earlier tooled version, more sprockets, frames for the rear flaps, hull extensions, parts for the exhausts. Fivels look alright. Again, you will end up with a seam here if you're not careful, but not on top. Here's your S-mine stuff. There's your mantlet. Reinforced binocular. Nice. Later sprockets. These at least don't look bent. They were super bent on my orange box one. The S-mine cans themselves. There's your engine deck. Hull extensions I don't think you'll be using for this one because this has the orange box hull. Okay, then we've got this late Tiger sprue, which is the normal rear plate, the command rear plate, the front plate, loaders, hatches, and late hull extensions, and then the sort of heater for the engine as well. These plates are good. I don't know how much you'll have to alter to make them early. If this is the plate they have you use, you'll have to remove the hinges. I think this is your command variant. Loader's hatch of the very late type, and then there's your welded, I think, type. There's the front plate, which has the shovel mount. The underside looks pretty good. And we've got two clear sprues molded together. We've got just periscopes, and then early turret solid piece, and then the vision slot for the front. Typical Dragon clear parts, clear enough, pretty stiff. I've noticed that some companies' clear parts are a little soft, that's why I say that. So then we have this sprue, and this is something that I have a problem with. The reason that a lot of people liked the orange box Tiger wheels is that certain ones, let's say these outside 8 here, did not have sprue gates at all. They just came by themselves. And now this is the orange box Tiger wheels, but on sprues. Like, Dragon got even lazier. This sucks. Why on earth would you do this and not just give us like the sprue from your mid Tigers? It seems like it has to be a cash grab. You're like, well, you get crappy wheels if you buy this kit. They're less detailed and they're a little frumpy. This is a very bad business practice and is crap. The detail on the wheels themselves is salvageable, but like, why not just do them the way that you did it with the orange box? I assumed that had more, you had to pay someone to clean them off of this, and that's why? I don't know. You will still have these large parts to clean up if you separate them like I do. Like, in theory, it's great because you're like, oh, there's only like 2 sprue gates per wheel. Yeah, those are huge sprue gates, and they're actually kind of a pain in the butt to clean up. So, yeah, another reason not to buy this kit, in my opinion. This is just the silliest way to do the wheels ever. And we've got 2 more sprues molded together. On there we have our front plate, parts for the hatches themselves, more exhaust bits. This could have been done for the orange box one, I'm not sure. You got some sighting vanes there, so this could actually be from the old DAC Tiger. And then here's the badge shovel. I think this is for the orange box one because these are the single piece, you jam them in the opening spare tracks, which I chose not to use oddly when I did it. And then there's your track change cable toolbox, S-mines and stuff. There's some nice parts on here, but also some pretty simplified stuff. Everything on there looks alright. There you've got the early type glacis. Got little attachment points there. Flying nuts, I'm not sure what those are called. These guys here. These are all satisfactory, I suppose. And then on this sprue, there's some wing nuts. There's a ventilator. I think that's for spare track right there. There's a little pole. Toolbox looks pretty okay. Track change cable looks a little wonky up in here, but it's alright. Shovel has no good clasp detail, so I'm not a fan. Now we got this sprue here, which is from, I think, 6252. It's occasionally, I think they've retooled it. I'm not positive on that, but you can tell by the lack of clasp detail on here, so I only suggest using this and maybe these guys here, but try to avoid these tools as they look kind of ugh. Upper hull detail looks very, very good. These are molded in place, but it's a nice piece overall. So this is what doesn't really match up with the side plates, as they give you late side plates. I think it's what you have to fill. Bare antenna tube here, and some tools that again I suggest you don't use. You can use the barrel cleaning rods though. And there's another sighting vane. Weird. This would be the only sprue that was newly tooled for this kit. As you can see right there, it says 1/35 Tiger H2. Here we have a 75mm sort of Panther style barrel. We've got our single baffle muzzle brake, which is very nicely done in one piece. And just other little bits, Panther style mantlet, bottom part of the turret. Interesting upper part of the turret hatch as well. There are tabs on this, which is unfortunate because it's a new piece, but I think they did that so it matched the old hull. Pretty simplified for a new piece. No teeth in the turret ring either. Mantlet itself, it's alright, a little simple. But again, since it was never actually made, there's not a whole lot you can do. All you have is like technical drawings and stuff. Some interesting stuff right there. Yeah, looks good. There's the little rear ball mount. It's kind of done in an old-fashioned kind of way. There's our barrel. More importantly, there's our muzzle brake. That's pretty nicely done, actually. And there's your MG barrel, which also seems to be hollowed out. So there's some silver linings there. Then we got this sprue, which is our 5-volt and engine deck stuff, as well as part of a turret bin by the look of it. Here's your two variants of this piece. There's the engine deck itself, or the engine hatch. Yeah, this would be from the DAC kit because that's what these are for. Those are the spare track hangers for the rear of the initial Tiger. 5-volt hoses, little S-hooks. Yeah, that should be a dead giveaway. It's a DAC kit as well, because the only time that was ever seen on Tiger 1 was on initials. Then we got this sprue, which has a standard Tiger 1 roof of a later variety, because there's the ventilator, and another rear plate with hinge detail and 2 loader's hatches. Of course, we won't be using this turret roof, but it does seem nice, and I can add it to my massive pile of spare Tiger 1 turret roofs. There's our rear plate. Again, they're telling you to remove that, which is a pain. But it's a nice piece overall. Adapter plate for the inertial starter. That's for later ventilators. And 2 different loader's hatches. Then there's our jack sprue, pretty standard by now. These two halves here, and a couple other bits go on it. It builds up real nice. I don't really have any complaints about Dragon's jacks. They're pretty good. Then we have this sprue here, which is a sort of in the factory created sprue, because you can tell it's two separate things that used to not be a thing. Some nicer tools here. This hammer and axe and shovel and this have some pretty nice clasps on them. And then you can tell it is from a Tiger kit because there is the one lonely torsion bar connector. And then here's our engine deck intakes. These guys look nice. It's nice to at least see a few good tools in here. I had to make a bunch for the last kit I did of this type. These intakes always look pretty good, so I don't have much to say about that. Lots of knockout marks, but that's why they look good. Then we have this sprue, which is our standard Tiger 1 late C sprue. Sprockets, single molded together side fenders, exhaust shrouds, parts for the exhaust that we won't be using, spare antenna tube. These look nice as always, but are a little thick. I've done PE ones for the first time recently, which are about that thin, so that's an idea of how kind of thin they can be in metal. These are fine. I like that they're doing them now as separate pieces, at least in that initial kit they just did. They're a huge pain for me to do in PE, so I prefer them in styrene, but I prefer them in individual pieces of styrene. Later sprockets, and then all the parts like this I don't have any problem with, apart from the fact that wing nuts all go in the same direction, so if you really want to be hardcore you could snip those off and reposition them or whatever, but... And then that clasp there is a little thick. You'd want to drill that out if you were going to use it, I think. Then we have this, which is our standard Tiger 1 late. And you've got your side plates, your front plate, the late configuration track change cable, that's even your headlight mount, the engine door itself, the inertial starter piece, the exhaust, the cables. It just reeks of late Tiger, this. So what Dragon have chosen to do with this is give you these side plates and then have you fill these holes here, instead of give you ones that actually work with the kit, which is one of my pet peeves. Apart from that, the plates look fine. Jack block is alright. All of these parts are alright. That's for the command right there, I believe. Yep. And then there's your later style tow cables. The shape is not exactly correct for a Kursk Tiger, but since this Tiger was never at Kursk, you're fine. And there's your later mud guards. If they ever use these, you will have to cut that shape out there. Then we've got these last three sprues all molded together. This is part of the fuel tank stuff and the loader's hatch, 5-hole hoses, and barrel cleaning rods of a different configuration. These parts seem nice. Very nice, actually. Very good there. These hoses are alright. They do better ones now, but these sprue gates will be a little hard to clean up. Next we have our lower hull, which is the orange box Tiger hull. You can tell because of these things here and this. Molded on final drives, the pin sort of plate here, swing arms, all of this now, and the hull extensions. So I didn't have any problem with this when I built it. It's fine. It's weird. You know, I don't like molded on swing arms. It's very 1970s, but these are gorgeous. But they don't use this all the time. They use it for like their bargain basement kits. And I know that they were charging full price for this when it first came out. I got it for very cheap, but yeah, so this is just the orange box lower hull. Detail on it is hard to differentiate from an assembled standard one. Double scalloping there, plate separation, swing arms look very nice, bump stops look nice. That is less detailed than the separate piece though. There should be some space in between this and there. That shouldn't be solid like that. That's about the only discernible difference between this and an assembled normal one. It's fine. I don't mind this nearly as much as I mind the crap wheels. Last bit of plastic is the new turret shell. To be perfectly honest, it feels dated. Like, the fidelity feels less impressive than I'm used to seeing from them, even in stuff from almost 10 years ago. It's kind of simple. You know, like they sort of phoned it in that day. It's fine, but it's kind of a dated style of molding. The welds are kind of not all that impressive either. They're okay. you know, it's fine. It's just not great. So that is the Tiger 1 Ausf H2. I apologize if there's a hint of disdain in my voice for the subject matter. I don't mind the subject being a strange one so much as the kind of crap choices they made for the kit. Like, you know, to re-release the orange box Tiger with even crappier wheels. It seems, and then, you know, call it a full-on Dragon Smart Kit. Like, it's getting to the point where I can't defend these guys, and I don't even want to. But as far as this kit, if you can get it super, super cheap, sure. But I do not recommend it in any way, because it is just, it's a bit of a cash grab, and even the new parts are tooled in a way that is dated and not very impressive.